Hello, and welcome to our live session. We're really happy to have you here. I'm Rebecca Gonzalez. I'm the CEO of Orange Marketing. This session was inspired a while ago by a conversation between me and Evan Nierman, who you're going to talk to, regarding how PR is the new hot thing that has been hot for years and years and years, and that is really, really influencing AI and AEO. So the title is Earn the Answer, PR and AEO Tactics That Get You Found in AI Search. Before we get into it, I want to formally introduce my co-host, Evan Nierman. We met at a conference and we started talking about PR and we got very excited about it. And I was excited to finally talk to a PR person. So I asked him on the spot in March if he would do a live session with us, and he agreed to it. So here is who Evan is, and we're very lucky to have him. He's the founder and CEO of Red Banyan, an international PR and crisis management firm. For over 2 decades, he has helped CEOs, public figures, law firms, and big brands get through their worst days, the viral controversies, the lawsuits, the reputation fires. He wrote 2 books, The Cancel Culture Curse and Crisis Averted. And when Fox, CNN, BBC, or Newsmax needs someone to explain a reputation crisis, he is one of the people they call. And today, he's going to show how the same skills that to protect a brand in crisis are what get you found in AI search. Evan, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. Just a caveat and a warning. I'm going to go fast because I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time at the end for questions for Rebecca and me. And so I'm going to move through these slides pretty quickly. And it's my understanding that Rebecca and her team are going to make sure that the slides get distributed afterwards. So if I go too quickly and you don't capture something on the slide, fear not, it will arrive in your inbox shortly. All right. Okay, so let's get after it. I think we start by simply looking at these insane numbers. This is a chart that shows ChatGPT growth now. And yeah, that's that number up there, which we're looking at, is 1 billion weekly users. Okay, and bear in mind, this is just ChatGPT. This is one of the LLMs. So 1 billion people are using this a week to get information. They're going in, they're asking questions about you, about your company. Are you credible? Your offering. So this is only one of the LLMs. Some people are using Grok. Some people are using Perplexity. Some people are using Microsoft's Gemini, all these different ways. So it's really a staggering amount. And what this is also meaning is that there's a huge tapering off in terms of Google traffic. And so organizations are seeing a sea change in terms of how people are finding them, and AI is supplanting Google organic search. Now, this is really interesting. Muckrack, which is a great platform. We use Muckrack, and we're not a paid sponsor, so I don't want to go on and on about how great Muckrack is. Although I do really happen to like their CEO, who's an excellent entrepreneur, amazing guy. Anyway, thank you, Muckrack, for giving us this important tidbit, which is that 84% of the citations that AI is using, they're coming from third-party sources. So my message to you is, if you're sitting out there working at an organization, working for a company, yes, you need to be creating your own content. You need to be updating your website. You need to be doing all these other things, which we're going to get into more detail about shortly. But if you're not focusing on PR, block and tackle, traditional PR tactics, you're not going to get those citations. And we know, based on this, how vital they are. So now I think we should do a little interactive poll and just see which of these marketing tactics the people on this call are using. And I'll just pause for a moment while we run this. Okay, the answers are coming through.
I see it.
give it just another minute more.
I think, whoops, there's a couple more. Okay.
All right. Content and SEO, 26% of the people are using, which is good. That matters a lot. I see PPC accounting for 15%. PR and earned media, 12%. Well, that's exciting because it means that there are ways that we're going to talk about today that you can alter your approach, and you can hopefully lift up that number from 12% to a much higher percentage, and you'll start getting better results in terms of being found on AI search. I see with answer engine optimization, about a quarter of the people, which is great. Events and webinars, huge fan of the webinar, as is Rebecca. And none of these yet, only a small percentage. So you guys are doers, not just sitting back, which is great. So let's talk for a minute about where we need to go, each of us. And let's see, I'm going to present here because there we go. I want to make sure that we're skating to where the puck is going, not where it's been. And this is obviously a quote attributed to the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Just so happens that his uniform is orange, which is cool because this amazing learning opportunity is brought to us by Orange Marketing. Rebecca in her orange top, me with my orange bottle. Yeah, we're marketing people. We like to be on brand. AI is changing the rules, guys. And it used to be, if you wanted to make sure that someone was getting a first impression of you, you had to own organic Google search. And if you weren't in a position to own that first or high position on page one of Google, well, then you were buying your position, investing in pay-per-click advertising so that on your brand term or other key terms related to your offering, you were showing up at the top of the page. But if you're like me, you've seen in recent months a dramatic drop-off in terms of Google traffic to your website and perhaps leads coming through your pay-per-click advertising efforts. And so what this is a big flashing orange sign that says, danger ahead, you need to be investing in AI. How do you come up in AI? How do you get found? How do you take the actions that you need to ensure that AI is delivering good information about you? Because the window of opportunity is actually closing, and it's smaller than it was, because it used to be you were competing over lots of real estate in a scrollable, long first page of Google. With AI, the risk you run if you're not showing up well is someone's going to ask a question, they're going to get an answer, and they're going to take that answer and run with it. And if you're not there and your competitor is, they're going to call them instead of you. So it really is imperative to get busy on the PR front. Now, it used to be for a number of years, very sadly, PR was like the redheaded stepchild of marketing. Everything that was being said about PR, this just hurt my soul for so long. You know, PR is so squishy. How do we know if it's working? You know, if I spend money in PPC, I spend $1, I make $2.20. There's great attribution. I use HubSpot so I can see the lead all the way through the engagement and the conversion. I can run all these incredible metrics. PR, much harder to quantify. And another argument was, you know, PR is great if you're a giant corporation, if you're enterprise level, if you're Anheuser-Busch and you got a stable full of Clydesdales and you want to trot them out, pun intended, for your commercials and show up at the Super Bowl or do other PR, that's really for big companies, not small businesses. But that's not necessarily the case. And I really think that we're entering a golden age of PR, where PR has moved from a nice to have to a must have. And in my view, a lot of that has to do with PR as a way to leverage the single most important asset that every organization possesses, every industry, every size, and that is your reputation. So in my view, PR, public relations, is very passé. It's very 1990s. Instead, think about PR as powering reputation. And as I was just saying, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 with tons of employees and an agency that you're paying $25,000 a month to just work their PR magic. There's so many different things that you can be doing to do your own PR. And this is op-eds in industry and trade publications, submitting for awards so that you're showing up on lists, attending as a guest or a presenter on a podcast or a webinar, contributing articles, quotes to reporters, being cited in the media. This is all stuff that is available to you. And if you're not doing it, you're missing the opportunity that affords to get those third-party citations and start showing up better in search. The other thing is, in terms of controlling your content, it would be very easy for every single person on here to be sharing your thought leadership content on platforms such as LinkedIn, where you control it. You're not having to pitch a report or anything. You can actually do that soup to nuts. So now we're gonna put what I'm saying to the test. And I have no idea how this is going to come out because we're doing it in real time. This is the risk of a live thing. But Rebecca, would you mind taking control of the presentation and bringing up a chat window on either ChatGPT?
He's making me do this, guys. If it doesn't work, it's his fault.
Okay.
So share screen. Here we go. Are we seeing a ChatGPT window? Wait, there might be something else I have to do. Oh my
I'm not
God.
seeing it yet.
Me neither. Hang on.
Okay.
Wait. Sharing ChatGPT to this tab. Stop sharing. I apologize. Share screen. We have practiced.
All right. What we can do is I can give it a shot. How about I try?
You go ahead and try.
All right. I'm going to share my screen now. Let's do this. Share my screen. Okay. You guys seeing my screen now?
Nope.
Let's see.
We did it.
Yeah, there we are. Okay. I have a question.
You're seeing all of our side content, but I don't care. Just do it.
Okay. How about now?
Better.
All right. I'm going to put myself on the chopping block before you, Rebecca.
Okay.
So I'm the one at risk here. Is Red Banyan, and by the way, we do positive PR as well as high stakes and crisis management, but for our own marketing purposes, we really lean heavily into the crisis management, the rapid response, because it's a unique niche for us. So I'm going to say, is Red Banyan a top crisis PR firm? And ChatGPT is going to think about it for a minute. Okay. Look what they're doing. They're looking at independent indicators, rankings, awards, client reviews. How about that? All right. Okay. Deep sigh of relief.
Yes.
Yes, we can be correctly described. So my point in showing you this is not to take a victory lap. It's to actually say all the things that I'm telling you about and that we're talking about on this webinar, I'm doing them myself for my own firm. And as you can see from the results on screen, they are working. So they're citing as the strongest evidence, one, O'Dwyer's, ranking us third nationally for crisis communications. O'Dwyer's is an industry publication, and it ranks and evaluates communications and PR firms. Look below, the second one, Chambers and Partners, another ranking. This one is industry specific as well, where you apply for recognition and you either secure it or you don't. Clutch is a site particularly popular with service-based businesses where users go in and they provide rankings and comments, etc. And they're looking also at let's see, calling it the best is subjective. I'm going to just ask it, who did you ask to determine this wonderful answer? What are your sources? Okay. Not one personally. They looked at these things. Okay. Give it just one more minute to think, and then we're going to try orange marketing. Okay, so even while it's doing that, I can see that it's searching the sites that it's talking about. I also know for a fact, whether it brings it up right this second or not, a lot of it has to do with press releases going out on multiple media news wires, which are something that all of you can utilize. Wikipedia, website content from Red Banyan itself. And here we go.
Oh, that's good.
Look, O'Dwyer's.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot with O'Dwyer's and
For
Chambers.
the Chambers, that's good.
Okay. Anyway, let's take me off the hot seat and put you on.
I would say skip us,
Okay.
only because of time. Okay. And it'll show. I don't want to like be interrupted, but it'll show kind of the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to bring our slides back up, and that's
great,
fun too. Here we go. They're coming back in. Give us a second. So here they are. They're back. And then what we were going to do is a query on orange marketing. What's the HubSpot agency in Orange County, California you would recommend? It seems like cheating because we're in Orange County, California, but it's not. We've realized we're getting a lot of local search lately. And so we started targeting, we've been United States wide, and in the last 6 months, we started targeting California, and it's working. We're getting local people who want a local agency. So I share that.
Great. All right, so I'm going to race through the next two slides and then hand it over to you, Rebecca. I want you guys to think about this concept called press the truth. We've all been taught we should tell the truth. Tell the truth is passive. It means, yeah, when we get around to it, we'll do these things. We'll tell our story. We're just going to focus on our business. No, what I'm saying is it's imperative to press the truth. That means taking an active role in driving a narrative about your business, about your identity. You do that through all these forward-leaning PR tactics that we were talking about. And what you see here on this screen is my view of what a flywheel looks like for all organizations. All your work can be really falling into these categories: planning and prevention, having a business plan, a marketing plan. Everybody's going to end up needing crisis management at some point. But really the goal is you want to spend the bulk of your time building your brand. And when you build your brand by doing all the tactics that you see there, what you're really doing is optimally positioning yourself to show up in front of a limitless audience of prospects and the public by showing up in AI. So with that, take it away.
Rebecca. Okay, so his building the brand is basically all the essential things that you do to show up in LLMs and AI. And we're launching another poll, and this is AEO tactics you've already put in place. And some of them you may not even realize are AEO tactics. So if you wouldn't mind answering the poll questions, we would be so appreciative. We're just trying every little thing we can think of on this webinar. Okay, we all in there. We got a good majority. We've got a few more coming in. Okay. A little bit more. Wow, a little bit more. This is fun. Okay. Let's stop the poll. So what we're seeing here, the top one, 23% of things that you're doing that are really important: updating and refreshing your existing website content. So we have 18% people are using FAQs and question format content. You're starting to implement AEO specific things. Prompt tracking is something very unique to LLMs, and there are tools you get. There's a tool in HubSpot. It's a tricky thing to do. And then reviews and testimonials are lower. It's so important, and we'll talk about that, to participate in a review program and also put those reviews on your live site. AI is eating that stuff for dinner, and it's so easy for you guys to do it. Schema markup, lower. We'll talk about what Google says about schema markup. Then I'll talk to you a little bit about it. And then case studies on your website pages. I'm going to give you my own case study for case studies and how I was shocked and realized how much we had to double down on case studies at Orange Marketing. So I'm going to thank you for your poll participation, and let's move on. So this is what happened to Orange Marketing. These are you're going to get these slides. This is our real data. This is our organic search plummeting. It starts out, it's too small to read kind of, but Q1 2022, and it ends up with last quarter. Ignore that blip that looks really high. It's something weird went on with MSN, but it's still crashing. Like, it still gets lower every quarter. It's just thrilling, right? To be up at those top numbers and then see it go down. But let me show you this slide. There is hope. So we started doing things that are traditionally PR. We'd always kind of done it because I come from an old-fashioned background. But we really started doubling down and issuing press releases about things that happen to us every single month, and writing case studies and putting our reviews and going after reviews. And so what this slide is showing you is contacts. These are contacts associated with Google search and contacts associated with AI. And what you're seeing are the contacts suddenly start to grow. And why you're seeing different colors is because we ask a question on all of our form pages, because I just don't care. And I added the question, how did you hear of us? And frequently people will come in from direct traffic, and they really were coming from ChatGPT. People say Google, but we know it's Gemini overview. So I'm now counting anything that sounds like LLMs and Google kind of in the same breath, because what are you going to do? The people out there can't differentiate that they're actually inside of Google's AI engine. So all the color before our organic search was just straight up from Google, there it was. And then all of a sudden stuff started happening all over the place from other things. And so and I felt it. I am the sole seller at Orange Marketing, and I've really felt the inbound increase. So what a sigh of relief. There's hope. If we did this, if Little Orange Marketing did this, you guys can do it too. What I want to talk about right now is advice is really confusing. So we have Google, and they are definitely the 10,000 pound gorilla. I just went and looked up all their data, and they're still out there saying it's SEO, it's content. It is to them. It is to Google that it is content. It's well-structured content. This is what Evan and I are talking about. They're saying, just get your H1s and your thanks for using that orange mug. Get your H1s and your H2s correct. But the thing is, Google doesn't own all the LLMs. They do not own Claude. They do not own ChatGPT. So they're giving good advice for Gemini, but the other AI search engines, they're not search engines, the other AI LLMs, they have things that are specific to them. So you can't just totally listen to Google. And if you do, it's a little bit of expensive advice right now, and it's very self-serving for them. So this is HubSpot's advice. And so we are a HubSpot agency, of course. So I follow HubSpot and what they say about the LLM super, super closely, because they have lots of money to research, and they had their butts kicked by this. They own all the SEO on all the terms. And there was a time when they were confused about what was going on. So they paid a lot of money and they figured this out. And their advice is that you have to pick a lane. You have to understand that there's a human person consuming your content. Sometimes there's this Google thing that is all about the old way that Google's done it. and there's answer engines, ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. And so what HubSpot's process is now, if content has to serve two of the audiences. They can be Google and AEO, they can be Google and humans, but whenever they put something out, they make sure it serves two people, and they are basically optimizing the overlap. So it's a good thing to keep in mind that there's multiple audiences your content's serving nowadays. Freshness is the new citation signal. This has become a big deal, and it's one of the top things you can do, which is have a process where you go through your content and you change dates on it, and people would tell you to update it a little bit and make it fresh. We know that pages are dropping out of AI search when they're not fresh, when the dates are stale and old. And I have examples that kind of broke my heart until I figured this out. So anyways, you have to have a process where you have, we never stamped our content with dates, like our big white papers, because we didn't want people to think it was old. Now we do stamp these big pillar pages with dates, and we go in and change them and modify the content a little bit every 6 months. So you have to have that process in place, or your own good content will stop serving you. The other thing about it is that's important is blogs sound sort of old fashioned, but they're new again. So it is a good idea to have a blog, to publish an article every week, every other week, where you're giving your important opinions and you're saying stuff, because the LLMs like it. And here's my shocking fact from HubSpot. 60% of all their AI citations come from their blog posts or just listicles on their website, like the top 7 things you can do about blogging or whatever. That's HubSpot, and they know what they're talking about, and that's a fact. So when HubSpot says this is what they're focusing on, you have to pay attention. So that's my big tip for you. The other thing that is just insane is that LinkedIn is now becoming a cited domain in AI, where it wasn't before. And so that kind of broke my heart too, because I have a committed LinkedIn strategy. You guys can see me on LinkedIn posting 1 or 2 times a week. All of a sudden, LinkedIn citations are showing up in the LLMs. And so you may not have noticed, maybe your company isn't committed to it. Your CEO begs you for more leads. Tell him or her, you need to start posting on LinkedIn. So the answer to everything is follow the money. This is follow the infrastructure. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. They back ChatGPT. OpenAI has a data partnership with Reddit. Reddit is peculiar, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys should all go into Reddit. But if you happen to be in engineering or kind of technical, Reddit can be a good place for you, and you'll probably have engineers in there right now. Google owns YouTube, which of course is Gemini, and we know for sure, and I wished I'd had a YouTube strategy 5 years ago. We didn't. We are now posting more on YouTube. It's a big deal, and the AIs are definitely using it. So there are things being sourced by AI from companies like an Orange Marketing, even a Red Banyan. We can get play out there when we couldn't before. And there is advantage for smaller players now. So, you don't have to be on the first page of Google anymore. Here's something that I'm just reemphasizing what Evan said, but it is honestly what we started doing. We will apply for pay for play awards, and I don't care, and I'm not embarrassed, and I will tell my customers to do it too. And then our content person, Monica, will turn right around and write a press release, and I don't care. Do I put it in our newsletter and publish it to our client base? No, she knows I'll suppress it because I just don't want to just be pushing that stuff. But it is really, really important for AI. We are voracious. If we ever do work for you, you already know we'll beg you for a review. Like literally, I won't go away until you do it. And it's because they get published out on HubSpot. HubSpot is crawled definitely by the LLMs. And then we turn around, scrape the reviews, and publish it on our own site. And if you ask AI, what do reviews say about Orange marketing? They'll summarize things like they're friendly, they're responsive, they're fun, and they know everything about HubSpot. I mean, you'll see that stuff. So it's very, very interesting. So you definitely need to scrape your own reviews and have them on a page. And then if you get the right placement in the right publication, we know it can generate citations for months. So this is, I can't tell you enough. And case studies as well, extremely important. And I'm going to show you a case study example from Orange Marketing. So we've been figuring this all out. So we happen to have a case study that says a rapid high stakes migration from Eloqua to HubSpot up in the H1 or H2, who knows? I'm not good at this stuff. But anyways, we happen to have that, not through a strategy, just through, we do case studies, and that's what we did. What happened is I got an inbound lead. Somebody cited the case study. I realized after talking to them, they'd gone on ChatGPT and asked for HubSpot agencies that migrate from Eloqua. Our case study came up and she's like, we want you to do that. She got her boss on the phone, maybe 2 calls totally. They never really negotiated with us. We gave them a fair number, but it wasn't a cheap number, and the deal closed. And it was all from this case study. And we suddenly realized, duh, we better be talking about technology we migrate from, because those are the kind of questions people are looking for in ChatGPT and in AI. So that's an example from our own coffers. And then we realized it wasn't being cited because we didn't have a date strategy to make it current. So as soon as it went up, 6 months later, it disappeared. And so we had to figure out how to keep popping it up. So I just wanted to give you an experience from our own handful of experiences. Now we're actually kind of winding up. And so we're coming to the point where you guys can enter questions, and we're happy to stay for about a half an hour or so, answer all your questions. But these are strategies or tactics, I guess, that Evan and I came up with that we think anyone can start within the next week. So you take it away, Evan.
Yeah. So look, you can start small and build from there. Getting a third-party mention this quarter, do something. Something is better than nothing, whether it's to write an op-ed for an industry publication or a newspaper, apply for that award, go on a podcast, give them something that's beyond channels that you control. That would be great. Rebecca made a really good point about case studies. Case studies are great, and the LLMs eat them up. So, talk to your team, get a couple. I've set as a KPI for my team that I want to see multiple, I think it was 3 or 4 case studies every quarter going up on our website and us talking about. So you should do the same thing. And, to Rebecca's point about picking a lane, instead of trying to boil the ocean and going to every platform all across, pick one. Focus on LinkedIn, perhaps. Focus on Reddit. Just pick one. It doesn't matter so much which one, but then execute a plan to actually create that content for that channel. And the best thing you can always do is the LLMs, they'll tell you the answers to the big secret. How do I show up here? So go on and have a conversation with Claude and say, I want to make sure that my business shows up when people are searching. These are the services that I offer. What are the queries that you're seeing? What are the questions people are most likely to ask you? And then it'll tell you, and then you ask Claude, hey, if I want to make sure that we show up as a great resource for them, what do I need to do to make sure that you serve me up as a suggested resource? So just have the conversation with the LLM of your choice. And then to this point, this is a little bit more down in the. You want to take?
Are you at number 4? Yeah, I wrote this, and let me tell. So you guys may or may not know, I'm a Jay Schwedelson fangirl, and this came up on one of his podcasts, and I'm like, this is so great, because sometimes our clients just don't know where to start. And he said, this is what Evan was saying. Just talk to the LLMs. Go into 3 of them. Ask what are the top 50 questions that someone would ask you that are interested in this product, this service, this sector. Go in there and ask it. Scrape it all. put them all in one doc and say and he said, use all 5 platforms if you want to, which of these 50 questions showed up on all 5 platforms. And this next informs your content, your FAQs. You can start working with the LLMs to answer the questions. And we had one client who followed this exact strategy. He did a giant FAQ page that he linked to in his footer. And it started, we use a tool that measures how you rank on AI, and it started ranking him higher and higher. And we were like, did that stupid thing work? And it totally worked. So anyways, the silliest of things work. And you could honestly have a summer intern help you with that if you still have summer and it's still an intern somewhere, or, somebody's teenage kid. What a great project. So the other thing on number 5, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about technical AEO. It's not a science. It's not anything anyone does, but something you could do is change 5 existing pages in like the next week or 2. You could turn headers into questions. The LLMs love things to start with a question. You could put FAQs on the bottom of your page. You could have some dev guy update your schema and make sure schema is there. Make sure your HTML is clean. We had one customer whose devs 200 years ago had put robots no crawl on some of the key website pages because back in the day, they thought the robots were bad or whatever. And he removed all that and things started popping for him because he couldn't figure out what was happening. So there are some little technical things you can do and you can check on, and you really have to do it just to be on the safe side. So you can't just take Google's at face value and say, oh, it's all traditional SEO. There are some special things you can do to help yourself. So that wraps up our formal, I see like chat is going off over there. That wraps up our formal presentation. And what we want to do is give you guys an opportunity, and we'll send out the slides. You'll have our contact information. I'll make sure I stick it in the email myself so that you have both of our contact informations. Feel free to ask us any questions. But if you guys have questions, please ask them. And thank you for answering some in there, Evan. And I'll go look in the questions. Okay, I'm going to just start with the first one. So there, we're going to redo our whole website and migrate it to a new CRM. What do we need to do to not lose traffic during the transition? If you want me to answer, I do know the answer. Okay. So what you have to do, Claire, is work with a smart company, and they can put in a redirect strategy. Like in case, say you're going from, 10 pages, or say you're dropping pages, you have to have redirects in to redirect them to those pages, to your new pages. And so you might have traffic blips for a little bit, but it's going to be okay. And any agency worth their salt will know that you can request crawls from Google and all kinds of stuff. One of our clients redid his headers in his website, his URLs in his website, because his old website was really cute and they did things like kind of cute and not straightforward. And he's like, oh, the URLs are very important because the LLMs read them. And instead of contact us, he'd say, oh, give us a ring or something like that. So he switched everything to really about. And then his LLM traffic went up, but he had to have redirects on all these silly URLs to his real URLs. So there you go, Claire. This is for Evan from Albert. How long until earned media becomes a citation? That's a hard question.
It's a great question. And I'm going to do what I coach people to do when we do media training, which is, if you don't know the exact answer, don't make it up. Don't lie. Just say, I don't know the exact answer. What I do know is that the reason I can't give you a hard and fast number is because as we are looking at this for ourselves and our clients, we find that it varies. In some cases, it could be a couple of weeks. In some cases, it ends up taking longer. So there's no hard and fast rule in terms of, oh, I got quoted in a CNN article, how long before I start getting that, feeling that bump and it becomes a citation that Claude or ChatGPT or any of the other ones mentions, I would suggest the most important thing is to keep racking them up. Don't worry so much about the time, because if you're adopting these practices, this is going to be a long-term play. It shouldn't be a short-term fix. So this is a flywheel that's going to start spinning very slowly. The key is just to get it going, to try some of these tactics, and then over time, it'll accelerate.
Okay, I just tried something, and so for everyone out there, we're using Contrast for the webinar, and I think it's amazing. And I'm going to write a LinkedIn post and recommend it. I didn't know I could do this. So this is from William. This is definitely for Evan, and we both know William. Hi, William.
Hello, William. It's not an either or. So I would say it's not a choice between bearing the bad review or just responding and seeing what happens. Here's my quick and dirty on what to do if, God forbid, someone on this call were to get a negative review. One, if it is a fake review, it's from a competitor, it's from someone who wasn't your customer, if it's from someone who's just taking a pot shot at you and it's not legitimate, you should flag it for Google, and you should have multiple people on your team and other partners, vendors, contractors, also flag it as an inappropriate post that violates Google's terms of service or wherever the platform is where they've made the negative review. So if it's completely fake, challenge it. And 9 times out of 10, you can actually get that fake negative review removed.
Nice.
That's one. Two, if you did get a negative review, I would encourage you not to leave it unanswered. Don't get into a protracted back and forth with the person, because when you're responding to the review, you're not trying to convince the person who already decided that they disliked you so much that they were going to spend their valuable time going online and making you look bad in front of the whole world on the internet. Instead, write a response that takes into account the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people who could potentially see your response. So be very dignified and use it as an opportunity to showcase positive attributes about your business. We're sorry to hear that, your experience was less than ideal. What we always try to do is X, Y, Z. If you'd like to talk more about this, we'd love to help you resolve it. You can contact us here. The point is, you want to show that you take feedback seriously. You're not going to roll around in the mud with a hater, but you're also not going to leave it unchallenged, because unfortunately people will come after and they'll read whatever someone writes about you. And if you don't press the truth and you don't get in there and defend yourself and actually get your narrative out, it's going to go unchallenged, and you don't want that. So hopefully that answers your question, William. Although I could say with great certainty, you're such an amazing practitioner. I can't imagine anyone has ever given you a negative review. So you must be asking for a friend.
He's very good. I'm going to add one to the stream because that was so fun. I can't stand it. Somebody else asked a question. I'm having such a good time here. We didn't know this did this. Okay, this is for you, Evan.
Really?
Oh,
you don't
both of us.
Why don't you start? Ladies first. I'm happy to wait after you.
I'm going to start. So I would say you have to have content on your website, but one can lead to the other. So I hate to say both, but you've got to start by having some decent content, but you have to, I think Evan's going to say, you have to start nurturing PR.
It's not an either or. It really is a both.
Okay.
You've got to do both. And you have to make sure that from a technical perspective, the schema on your website makes you friendly to the LLMs. And you've definitely got to have good content on your website, which will be cited. But you also need to have, as we know, 84%, again, was that stat, 84% of citations are from third parties, outside sources. That only happens from PR. So you really got to do both.
Okay.
I'll mention one other just really cool anecdote about something that I saw happen just within the last couple of weeks that was extremely valuable for us and should be valuable for you. there was a topic in the news. It was really highly relevant. And my team created a piece of content on our website that was designed to have our unique take on what was hot in the news. We wrote it in such a way that we knew it was very AI friendly. We published it on our website. Not a week after it was published, we actually got an inbound media inquiry from the New York Times. They had seen the article on our website, presumably because they went onto AI and started asking a question, and our content was written such that if someone asked a question in AI, they would find our content. It ended up leading to a conversation between the reporter and me. And then the next thing you know, I was giving her an interview and I was quoted in a New York Times article.
Wow.
Back,
wow.
Again, third-party attribution helps with our credibility. And it was all because we were investing in creating content on our website. So again, it just illustrates that you can't do one without the other, and that if you write good, high-quality content on your website, it then in turn can open up PR opportunities. So you can kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah. So, and just another tip from, if you've got somebody like Evan in your leadership team, you're very lucky. So here at Orange Marketing, we have me, and aren't they lucky? But what happens is I'll get an idea from just stuff I'm researching. Like I'll be getting ready for a webinar and I'll start really researching AEO and stuff like that. And I'll start writing more LinkedIn posts directed that way. Our content manager, Monica, constantly reads my LinkedIn posts for ideas. And those become the kernel of blog posts and AI content. So it lets me focus on putting ideas out there and not polishing them and just saying things, or, I'll comment on someone else's post or something like that. And she's following along, and she surprises me because a blog post will be inspired by a little article I wrote out of thin air. I was just thinking about something. So it's great if you have a thinker somewhere on your team that you can use to inspire content. But I know you can't always have Evan and Rebecca on your team. Well, you can. There's a way.
You can. Our contact details are here. Reach out. We'll talk.
You can. I have some questions. Let's see if we have any more over there. Let's see. I'm going to read a couple questions that we had. Can smaller brands compete on AEO? What are your thoughts, Evan?
Hell yeah, you can. I know you can, because we are. Yeah, I mean, if you ask ChatGPT if we're among the top, when I showed you that test, it cited us as being one of the top. There are firms that have a lot more people, that have been around a lot longer than us, but they're not necessarily doing their own PR the way that we are, and they're not investing in the tactics of AI the way that we are, combining public relations with the AI, the AEO and the GEO, the technical requirements, but also the content. So you can absolutely, and I do believe there's a unique window here, because this is in its early nascent phases. And so if you're very aggressive and you're investing in your position in terms of being served up by the LLMs, you can absolutely use the fact that you're small and nimble to leapfrog much bigger competitors who need to go to the committee and they need to next quarter have a meeting about it. No, if you're a small, nimble firm, you can actually move very aggressively, and you can absolutely command bigger audience share than some of your much larger competitors.
Yeah. You just have to pay attention to what's going on there. This sounds dumb. I have a pad of paper in front of me for LinkedIn ideas. And so when I'm talking on client calls and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a good idea, I write a little note down, and then I can go back through the recording and find it and do it rather quickly. So there's all kinds of sneaky ways to come up with good ideas that'll catch people. I'm kind of looking through our chat because there were things going on there that I couldn't keep track of. And there was a really good question came in again from Claire. She's talking about content. So she heard me talking about content, and she said, are you saying that we don't need to just update it, but also timestamp the page with the content? You bet. So that is one thing we've learned. You can Google this and ChatGPT it, but basically you put an updated date at the top, make it in line or, H2, H3 or whatever, who knows. But anyways, you put it up there in the content and make sure it's front and center and it's standing out there by itself. And you put dates on all your content. Everybody says, and HubSpot will tell you to revise your content substantially or something like that. I don't know. That could just be myth, but you definitely should go add dates and change the dates every 6 months. And sure, you should update it, but that's what I'm thinking. How about that, Evan?
Love it.
And Krista's asking, and Evan answers this too in the chat, could we blog on LinkedIn? I mean, we do. Both of us do. I try not to write a lot because LinkedIn is favoring shorter posts. Jay Schwedelson just said 200 to 300 words, but sometimes I have more to say. He said that LinkedIn is really liking carousels. They're a big pain to create. And he likes people posting 2 to 3 times. I guess LinkedIn's a boy. He likes people posting 2 to 3 times a week. And those are the rules of the road. Yeah. One more, and if I'll go check questions, but we're not going to keep you guys forever. Did we do this one? Where to start with limited time and budget?
No.
Okay. Where would you start with limited time and budget, Evan?
I would start with make sure your house is in order. So I would say engage someone to if you're not able to ascertain this on your own, make sure that the content on your website is friendly as far as the LLMs, and create some FAQs pages and use the LLMs to do some research on content you could put on your website to make it more friendly and show up better in AI search. And I would get those things on your website immediately. It's basically free. All it takes is the time to create the content, and the LLMs will tell you how to do it. That's where I would start.
Very good. So I would do exactly what he said. I would actually start by asking the LLMs the top 50 questions exercise and do it across multiple LLMs and let them tell you exactly what to do and let that prioritize your content plan. So I'd do that. And then we had one more question come in here. Tyler, I think I know what Tyler this is. Hi, Tyler. What are examples? This is a really good question, Tyler. It's for you, Evan. I wouldn't even touch it. What are examples of some good leading indicators to measure the success of a PR campaign? What do you guys do?
Lead indicators. I like that. We're talking lead versus lag indicators.
Leading indicators on a PR campaign.
So PR is just like sales. It's a numbers game. So if you send out X number of pitches, you're only going to get responses from Y number of respondents. So if you wanted to create leading indicators, it could be outreach to certain outlets. It could be you're setting, how many thought leadership pieces am I going to be writing per quarter and getting those complete and then submitted. Those are leading indicators. You could also say, look, I'm going to set as a KPI that I want to build the number of backlinks to our site and good quality content on a press release distribution tool. That could be Globe Newswire, it could be PR Newswire, it could be PR Web, et cetera. I would say set a metric for how many press releases per quarter you're going to end up creating and submitting. And if you do that, that's just like quick and dirty of a handful of things to be tracking and looking at. You can do the same thing, whether it relates to other content on your website, awards, appearing at conferences, et cetera.
The quick question from me, Evan. So there's cheap PR distribution tools, and then there's the big boys. What do you suggest for an SMB?
There's no reason not to. Like press releases, you should not. I don't believe that you need to pay top dollar for a press release every time you send one. For certain really important milestones, it may be worth investing. If it's PR Web, which is now part of Cision, It's actually quite cost effective. It's in the, you're talking about hundreds of dollars per
Yes.
release.
Yes.
Tends to have good distribution. You can embed some backlinks. It's a very cost effective. It costs a lot less than PR Newswire, Global Newswire, et cetera. There are free press release distribution options. I think they're okay. I wouldn't use them all the time or as your principal, but every now and then to put something out on them, sure, why not?
Okay. That was my question, guys. I always wonder this. So I think that's the end of our questions and the end of our time. I want to acknowledge Tracy, and I know what Tracy this is. She mentions that that you got cited, Evan, your company cited, even with a broader search. She means less specificity. I can't say that word. So that's good. And we know that you guys have done a really good job of positioning Red Banyan for exactly what you do, which is your top skills, crisis management, right? And then you do regular PR stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we do both. It's 50.
They do both. They do both. We do HubSpot, only HubSpot. And that's what we do. So that's the end of our session. We had fun. I can speak for myself and for Evan. We had fun talking to you guys. It was fun to do this together because this is the heart of how you guys can get cited in AI. And we both really believe this. So it was fun to bring this to you. Happy Thursday. Happy end of summer. And hang in there.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Rebecca.
Yes.
You guys are doing a great job. Actually, you didn't know I was going to say this, but you're doing a great job of helping us with our HubSpot. So thank you to your team.
Yes, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to help a fellow marketer or a PR. All right. So we're going to leave now. We're going to end this. I'm going to hit the button and tell you guys out on LinkedIn how much I love this software. So bye-bye.